Hello friends, welcome to UPSC CSE in English with Unacademy. So let's begin today's class. Uh, for those who don't know me, I'm Siddhi Bangard, your teacher, educator and mentor with Unacademy. Let's crack it. So I did my graduation from the IT Mesra Ranchi and have appeared for 4 mains and an interview. I've also appeared for RBI Grade B exams, both prelims and mains. And finally did my MBA in HR from XLRI Jamshedpur. Am I audible, guys? So first of all, good morning everybody, and I hope you have a brilliant morning. And the questions today are really enjoyable. So let's proceed. Okay, folks. At Unacademy, you get daily live classes, live test and quizzes, structured courses, and unlimited access. With one subscription, you get unlimited access to all the goodness that I've listed here and access to more than 200 courses that we have on our platform. So that means with one subscription, you get access to all the recorded and the live courses and also the upcoming courses that will be coming on the platform within the duration for which you've enrolled with us. With that, folks, I would also like to introduce the Unacademy Iconic program, which is a unique program both for the freshers and for the repeat aspirants. Just to tell them which is the one way that they should go, totally customizable for the person who's participating in the program. So it's not like we are giving you what everybody else is doing. The program is completely suitable to your needs, your study patterns, your study schedule, the way you can write, whatever aligns with you to increase your chances to get selected into civil services. So under this program, you will be getting a personal coach. You will learn to study effectively, know the exam better. It will help you with your optionals. It will help you understand GS better and how to prepare for current affairs. And not just that, we will be holding your hand right from the prelims during the mains. That is, we will also teach you answer writing skills and the other things that you need to do to excel at mains till the interview stage when we will help you out fill out the detailed application forms and the personality development for interviews. Yesterday in my lecture itself, I mentioned what is the importance of the detailed application forms, that they are that one-page resume that goes through the interview board and you will be interviewed. Your complete interview will be based on that one page. So it's a very important document that needs to be filled well. And just like what happens with most of the candidates who give it UPSC for the first time and are actually able to make through it, the problem that I had, we have completely no idea to how to fill a resume or to how to fill the DAF properly. So a lot depends on that, and to have a mentor besides you who can actually tell you do that greatly increases your chances of getting selected in the interview and making it to the finalist. With that, folks, our Plus program is a common program, one of our best-selling programs. So if you want to self-study, if you want to study with your peers, there are recorded courses, live classes, everything that you get on the Plus program. Now, Iconic is Plus and more. That means apart from all that which is normally available on the Unacademy platform, the more thing is that you have a human touch to it. You also have a personal educator who will customize the entire experience for you so that UPSC becomes very manageable. You know what to do. Otherwise, the guidance that you normally get on the internet is for all. It's not specific to you. So that will completely narrow it down. The strategy will be narrowed down to you only. With that, folks, the Plus program, the 1 year subscription fee is less than 40,000. And if you use my code SPSIDHI, the 2 year fee for our Plus program is less than 58,000 if you use my code SPSIDHI. And for a 2 year Iconic program, the fee is reduced to 90,000 only if you use my code SPSIDHI. It's for a 2 year program. So 1 year, 45,000 each. So it's the cheapest subscriptions that you can take, yet the most beneficial ones. And as you come here also for the 1 year Iconic program, the fee is less than 58,000 if you use my code SPSIDHI, which gives you an instant 10% off. With that, folks, choose wisely, choose Unacademy and choose Iconic. Let's proceed to today's session. I will be referring back to this course for some of the science and technology topics. So it's already there on Unacademy. So you can go and visit the sessions that I refer to, because for some core science and technology topics, I've taught them in detail under this course. And I also teach IR. Most of you must be already knowing that. So I take those classes at 8:30 p.m. in the evening. With that, folks, let's begin today's class. So the ground rules for today's class. feel free to be wrong in the class. This is a class where I want you to make maximum mistakes so that you learn a lot. Second thing, and don't be sad if you make those mistakes. It's actually good, because whatever mistakes you want to make it here, make it now, so that in the final exams you don't make the mistake, because that is the important part. There you shouldn't make the mistakes, because the first attempt is the charm attempt. It's the best attempt actually. So remember your mistakes and your successes so that you can replicate them, and mistakes so that you can avoid them in the actual exam. There will be 30 seconds to read the question and 30 seconds to answer. Also, it's a morning session and I want you to have a wonderful day ahead. So enjoy the session and believe that you will improve each day, because believing finally leads to really good outcomes. So let's proceed. Like this happy ending of this 12-year running series, I hope to see a happy ending for you too. With that, folks, we start with our first round. That's the monthly 5. I just thought we'll make things a little interesting. So in the first 5 questions, they'll be very, very current, something which has happened in the past week. So I will be covering those questions. So the first question is on your screens. Good morning, everybody. So are we ready to begin? Okay, sure. So 20 seconds to read this one because it is slightly smaller, and 30 seconds to answer it. Okay, guys, your time starts now. Am I audible, folks? Am I audible? Is the AV completely clear? Is my voice clear? Okay. Till now, I have received only one answer, which is not correct. Okay. Why does everybody think? Okay, Nandu has written skip. Sorry, Nandu, I forgot to add it here. E option is there. Skip. All right. Okay, guys. Nobody has given me a correct answer as yet, and you'll be amazed. The correct answer is actually A. This committee has been set up very recently. Great, guys. The correct answer is the committee has been set up to actually suggest how more students will stay and study in India. It is to actually reverse brain drain. So, actually, this committee has been set up very, very recently, I think 24th or 25th July itself. So, okay, finally people are answering it. So, Jyoti and Supriya, I think Supriya, you're new to my class. So, Supriya, you answered it correctly, and so has Jyoti Shukla. So, guys, hear me out. Now, during the COVID-19 situation, a lot of our students who actually go to foreign universities have come back. In fact, it's a going issue in USA, where USA wants to send back these students back to their own countries, because if there are online classes, they can attend it back from home. And it actually reduces the disease burden in USA. However, universities like Harvard and the other ones are actually completely opposing it, because if these foreign students go, they actually lose out on a lot of revenue, because they're lodging, they're working there, they actually pays these universities there. So once these students have come back, so they'll be completing their studies here, and government says that we do get a lot of remittances from these foreign students who finally start working there. In fact, truth be told, maximum amount of my batch, I come from BIT Mesra, almost 80% of my batch is right now in USA, UK or the Scandinavian countries, and they send back in a lot of remittances. So the government said that it's okay that they send in remittances, but actually the talent is going out of our country. So this committee has been set up to reverse the brain drain process. So right now, taking use of the COVID-19 lockdown, they have said that they have to find ways to engage the students, to make the universities better, what we are supposed to do to increase the intake of the students who have come better, or to provide employment opportunities to the professionals who have come back, so that there is no further brain drain, or at least we can reduce that brain drain to a certain extent. So DP Singh is actually the chairman of the University Grants Commission. So his committee will be submitting a report on this important item within 15 days. All right. Okay. So there we go. This committee was actually set up on 25th July 2020. So it's a very, very recent development. All right. In fact, one of the recommendations that have come from the education minister himself is actually that we should actually increase the uptake in the IITs, or maybe just extend their campuses rather than forming new IITs. So rather than forming new IITs, you just increase the capacity in the current IITs, recruit more professors there, and make the residential campuses bigger. That's what is being suggested. Okay, guys. Next question on your screens. It's a little bit tough. All right. So 30 seconds to read it, or not 30, 25 seconds to read it, and 30 seconds to answer it. Are we good to go? Everybody understood? So it's a hard question. That's why I've given you 25 seconds. All right, 5 more seconds and then I will start the timer. There you go. Okay, folks. So where are my correct answers? Vivek, is this for this question number 2? Or what is it for? So I haven't. Okay. So everybody is saying B. All right. So I think Vivek has also answered B for this one. Yes? All right. Okay. Nandu has decided to skip it again. All right. Let's see what the correct answer is. So yes, it is B. The correct answer is B, folks. Actually, this strategy was not developed in response to the UN General Assembly resolution. Why it should be UN General Assembly resolution? No, it is actually in response to the WHO traditional medicine strategy of 2002 to 2005, 2003, 2005. It's a very old one. So they have developed a new one. Sorry, it's already here. So that's why it's not in response to the UN General Assembly resolution. It is actually in response to this. So the option B is correct. So Vivek has answered it correctly. Naveen has answered it correctly. Abhilesh has answered it correctly. Nandu has decided to skip it. Sanjeev has answered it correctly. Okay, guys. So actually, recently what happened, our Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, so he participated in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So it's actually led by China, and its members are Central Asian countries plus Russia plus China plus India and Pakistan. So I've already covered it in detail in the Indian foreign policy that I take in the IR series, so I'm not covering it here. Now, so when they were discussing this health, entire health spectrum under this SCO cooperation, our health minister remarked, he said that we are actually not doing anything under the traditional medicine strategy. So India is big on promoting the Ayush ministry. We do feel that we have a lot of traditional medicines which can cure a lot of things, including COVID-19. We don't have a proof of it yet, but we really want to take it forward. And there are a lot of traditional medicinal systems all around the world, because health is as old as human civilization. So there are a lot of medicinal systems that are there. The WHO traditional medicine strategy actually tries to bring it all together so that the countries can cooperate on that, and maybe if somebody finds a solution to certain epidemics, they can collaborate and help out the other countries. So it was mentioned there, and hence I have put it here as a question. Also, Traditional medicine has a long history of use in health maintenance and in disease prevention, as I've already told you. Alright, in some countries it is also called complementary medicine, because the allopathic way of doing it is called the main way of treating diseases. So the traditional medicine also called the complementary medicine, and this entire thing has come in response to the WHO strategy that was released early in 2002-2005. So the new guidelines have been released for the duration of 2014 to 2023. Okay, folks. And what are the important objectives of this strategy? So the objectives are that we have to use traditional medicine for the health and wellness of people. The countries should collaborate, and also to develop proactive policies regarding development of TM and awareness regarding the traditional medicines. With that, folks, next question on your screens. 15 seconds to read it and 30 seconds to answer it. It's an easy one. So we are still in July only. So this is something which has happened in July. Very recent. Your time starts now. Good morning, Rosie. Good to see you here. Yes, you're late. All right. Okay, Nandu has finally decided to answer. All right. Guys, I haven't received any other correct answers. So I haven't received any correct answer as of now. The correct answer is actually C. It is not B, Nandu. So Rosie has answered it correctly. Jyoti has answered it correctly, and Ganga Gopi have answered it correctly. So they are the first three who have answered it correctly. Actually, it was recently in news. So 21st June, the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, which is a government body, they launched this Kumhar Sashактикаран Yojana under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So what they are doing actually here, they are giving them latest technology in the potting industry so that they can make beautiful pots, and the Yojana was actually launched in Pokhran. So Jaisalmer, Pokhran in Jaisalmer is a very famous place for pottery, and it's in Rajasthan. So the pilot project was launched there, and recently it was news in July when Amit Shah also handed over new pottery wheels and plungers to other potters in his own union constituency, the Gandhinagar constituency. So that's why this entire thing was new in news. So it is for the empowerment of potters, which is a community that lives in remote locations in the country. For example, as I told you, Pokhran, and the initiative is by Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So there we go. Next question on your screen, folks. 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Yes, Shivranjani, you also got it correct. Supriya also got it correct. Sanjeev also got it correct. Yes, Jyoti, you're right. Parmanu, the movie by John Abraham. They had done it very beautifully. Okay, time starts now. Okay, guys, actually the correct answer is B. So Naveen got it correct. All right, it is not C. So though this is a national transit pass system, it's actually been launched for forest produce. So it was launched by the Ministry of Environment. And the second option is correct. Yes, the pass can be applied directly from the mobile phones, especially in the times of Corona. They wouldn't require a physical presence at most of the places. So this is intuitively correct. However, as much as it looks intuitively correct, this is not correct. It has been launched by the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. So let's look at it, what it is exactly. So this was launched in 23rd July 2020. So it's a very, very recent development. All right. And the piloting is done by Ministry of Environment. So they say that the transit of timber, bamboo and other forest produce is actually governed by a lot of state rules. So the forest produce has to be brought from various states. For example, bamboo has to be brought from Meghalaya to different parts of the India. So different states have different transit pass systems. So we now have a one nation, one transit pass system, and the e-passes can be directly gotten from your mobile systems. So this is how it is here, and it will actually save a lot of time and energy for individuals who transport forest produce by enhancing the income of rural people. So it is especially for rural India. All right, folks, should we go ahead? Now I think, okay, guys, B is only correct. C is not correct. It's B. Yes, Krishna, you're right. So C is not correct. It is B. Rosie has also answered it correctly. All right, folks, your time starts now because Lonar Lake is a very famous one. All right, folks. So what do you think? What should be the answer? Okay. Yes. So Ganga Gopi is correct. Vivek is also correct. Yes. Option A is the answer. The mud belt of the lake is actually not rich in vegetation. So actually recently it was discovered why was the Lonar Lake has turned pink. The reason was discovered very recently. So let's look at what is the reason exactly. The reason is that there is a large presence of salt loving bacteria inside Lonar Lake. It's actually very salty in nature and very alkaline. The pH is somewhere between 10 to 10.5. It's very basic in nature. So it's salty plus very basic in nature. That's why there is almost no vegetation in the mud belt. What do you mean by mud belt? So there are three layers in the lake. The first layer is of sediments, coarse sediments that have come from the land. So larger sediments, say stones of this much size. The middle one is the clayey sediment. This is the mud belt where actually most of your vegetation grows inside the lake. And the last one is the finer sediments that is deep inside the lake. All right. So since the mud belt, since the environment inside the lake is not very helpful for vegetation to grow, so there is absolutely absence of any kind of vegetation in the mud belt in the Lonar Lake. And you will be actually encouraged to know that this is the world's largest basaltic impact crater. Why impact crater? Because as we all know, it was created by a meteor that hit the earth 50,000 years ago. So it's the world's largest basaltic impact crater in the world, and this lake is extremely famous. It's in Maharashtra in the Lonar area. And the bacteria is Haloarchaea. Now halo actually stands for salts. Sorry, it's actually halo stands for salt, so that's why they are called salt loving bacteria. I'm so sorry. Okay, should we move ahead? Okay, so there are others also who answered it correctly. Naveen, you answered incorrectly. Nandu, you answered incorrectly. Suman answered correctly. Nishant answered correctly. Rosie answered correctly. Jyoti, you made a mistake here. Supriya answered it correctly. Yes, kind of, Rosie. In fact, there are a lot of other lakes which are actually pink in nature, and most of them are in Australia, and they are mostly because of algae or salts. That's most of the reason. All right, Shivranjini and Sanjeev also got it correct. So, folks, let's move to the next round, which is the quick 10 round. So, we'll do 10 questions. The time will reduce here, I will give you only between 15 to 20 seconds to read the question and another 30 seconds to answer it. So let's start. Your 15 seconds begin now. This is a very easy one, so should be done by everybody now. Okay, let's proceed. Yes, Rosie, algal blooms. Not exactly algal blooms. So because of the salt loving bacteria, there are some chemical reactions which actually turn it pink. Okay. So I've got my first answer. Ganga Gopi has answered. Who others are want to answer this? Okay. Naveen, I didn't expect you to do it incorrectly. So Ganga Gopi, Vivek and Jyoti Shukla and okay, only 3 have done it correct. Yes, it's 2 only. It actually does not pass through Meghalaya. Brahmaputra does not pass through Meghalaya at all. It only passes through Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. And Majuli, yes, is the largest riverine island that is located in the Brahmaputra river. I will show you both where they are. So if you see, Meghalaya is here and Majuli Island is somewhere here in between in Arunachal, sorry, in Assam. And actually recently there was a flood warning issued in Assam. So that's why this entire thing is news, because Brahmaputra is flowing above the danger mark, which is very, very common to have floods in Assam or floods due to Kosi in Bihar. So you all know the various names of Brahmaputra. So it's called Brahmaputra in India and Sangpo, Yarlung Sangpo in China. And it actually originates from the Chema Yungdung Glacier in China. All right, and it flows through the Tibet Autonomous Region and Indian states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and then finally it goes to meet Ganga in Bangladesh. All right, so let's look at here. Where is actually your Brahmaputra? So I will mark it with the black pen here. This is actually where your Brahmaputra is. So it nowhere goes to, and at the hairpin band it actually converges here. So at no point this actually goes through Meghalaya. Meghalaya is here. So only Arunachal and Assam. Okay folks, next question on your screens. 15 seconds to read it and 30 seconds to answer it. It's a very easy one. Okay, Rangesh, you are late to my class, but you've answered it correctly. The rest of all who have answered C or A, it is incorrect. The correct answer was B. Your time starts now. All right, folks. So I have received only one answer as of yet. Okay. Okay, Nandu has decided to change his answer. All right, guys, it's Ganga Gopi has answered it correctly. Jyoti, your answer is wrong. It's actually not Bhagat Singh, it's Chandrasekhar Azad. He was the one who died in a park. It cannot be Bhagat Singh. Those who have answered Bhagat Singh, it cannot be Bhagat Singh because he was hanged. He did not die in a park in Allahabad. So Chandrasekhar Azad died fighting. His location, he was very difficult to locate. So his location was given by one of his friends. And that's how the British were actually able to catch him. Otherwise, it was extremely difficult to catch him. And under his leadership, actually, the Hindustan Republican Association became Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, and it gained a lot of fame. So very, very well-known identity. And in fact, Chandrasekhar Azad and Bal Gangadhar Tilak both share their birthdays, and our country was celebrating the 114th anniversary of Chandrasekhar Azad very recently. That's why this question is here. So now is it okay with everybody? He was also involved in the Kakori conspiracy case. So Ganga Gopi, correctly done. Nandu, you changed your answer, so good. Shivranjani done it correctly. Rosie done it correctly. Naveen has done it correctly. Suman was also correct. Supriya, Vivek. Okay. No, you don't have to be confused, Jyoti. See, Bhagat Singh, everybody knows he was hanged, and Gandhi did not do anything. People say Gandhi did not do anything. He could have asked for mercy for Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru, but that didn't happen. So they were hanged. If it is about power, then it is Chandrasekhar Azad. So recently, we actually celebrated their 114th anniversary. So it was for both of Chandrasekhar Azad and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Obviously, Bal Gangadhar Tilak came way before Chandrasekhar Azad, so it was not his 114th anniversary. But for Chandrasekhar Azad, it was. That's why he's here. All right, folks, let's move on. So 10 seconds to 15 seconds to read it and 30 seconds to answer this one. I hope, Jyoti, there's no more confusion now. Guys, are you enjoying this or is it very boring? Because I'm feeling that you're finding it boring. If you're finding it boring, please let me know. We'll make it interesting. Time starts now. Great. Great, great. Enjoy the session, guys. Okay, Naveen says 8th is C. Who else has to give any answer here? Okay. Well, nobody has answered me correctly till here. It's neither A, nor C, nor D. It is actually B. Two only. So Jyoti has answered it correctly. New Delhi does not have the highest number of monuments. It's actually UP, which has the highest number of monuments of national importance in the list. And rightly so. If you actually look at it logically, yes, New Delhi was the seat of the emperors, but in the very ancient times, very, very ancient times, it was the Magad region or this UP belt, the UP Madhya Pradesh belt, which has been the cradle of a lot of civilizations. Why? Because of the presence of water, UP Bihar region, because the Ganges flowed through it. And that's why there are a lot of ancient monuments, medieval monuments, which are a part of the monuments of national importance list. And that's why UP is the one which leads, Karnataka is second. So it was in news in January 19. So that's a little out of our syllabus, but I included it because the monuments that were included in this list are a very, very important part of art and culture, and we'll study some of the features here. All right. So, and the important information here being that what are the art or what are the monuments that are actually classified as ancient. So anything which is greater than 100 years old is actually classified as ancient. In fact, to give you a fun fact, so my mother is a principal in a government college here in Jaipur. So the college which she teaches is actually a protected site. It's an archaeological site. So she's continuing teaching there, the entire college, the entire school. It's in the main city area and it's greater than 100 years old. So it's a heritage building. All right. In fact, we have a lot of them in the Jaipur city. So obviously one had to be from Rajasthan. So the Nimrana Bauri in Rajasthan's Alwar district is one such monument of national importance. My very, very humble request to all of you is that you actually take this list of 5. I will put this list of 5 in the comment section. You actually go and look at the pictures of these places. Just look at the pictures. It will give you a huge idea about the art and culture of India. So if you look at the Nimrana Bauri, Bauris are basically stepwells. And there are a lot of stages in which this Nimrana Bauri had been built by Thakur Janak Singh. Now, it was actually built to give employment to people because that time the region was facing famine. So it was built during that time. And Nimrana is a very famous place in India. Why? Because India and Japan have a big collaboration here. So there is an entire Japanese industrial area. And Japanese have a kind of a small mini occupation in Nimrana. And the Nimrana fort is also very well known around the world. It's one of the most expensive places to live in. So it's a hotel, it's a heritage hotel. Then we have the group of temples at Ranipur Jhadail in Odisha's Bolangiri district. Now here, they actually found out some temples which don't have a roof. They're very, very ancient temples. They are known as hypaethral temples. So these are temples which do not have a roof. In fact, I will show you a very stunning picture just after this slide, and I will tell you what these temples actually look like. So usually these hypaethral temples are sites of tantric activities. So we'll discuss more in detail about that. Then there is the Vishnu temple in Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand. Again a very famous temple. Then please go and see the old High Court building of Nagpur. It has a beautiful British colonial structure. It is known as a poem in stone. That's the alternate name for this building, poem in stone, because the stone architecture is extremely beautifully built. Then there are two Mughal era monuments in Agra, Haveli of Agha Khan and Hathi Khana. I want you to go and look at the pictures of all of these. I actually somehow forgot to include the pictures, otherwise I would have loved to show you the pictures. Otherwise, what we'll do is at the end of the coming session, I will show you the pictures and we'll discuss some of the important art and culture things regarding them or their architecture. So going ahead, let's actually look at this picture. So in this picture, can you see, does it ring a bell? Does this picture ring a bell? Doesn't our Indian parliament look approximately the same? The columns that are shown here in this picture, or the central structure. So this is actually, sometimes it actually comes under debate that this ancient temple, sorry, this medieval temple, it was built in the 11th century by a local dynasty in Madhya Pradesh. It's actually a tantric temple. They are also called Chausat Yogini temples. And as you can see, there is no roof in this temple. In fact, the roof of this temple, they are usually used as water storage structures, because these areas were very, very drought prone. So this structure has been debated to be looking similar, or our parliament designs seem to be coming from this. And on each of these columns, there are 64 columns. As you can see here in the outer sanctorum, there will be 64 columns, and they will have the Devi, or as you call Shiva's consort, the Devi, in 64 different forms. In fact, you can find a mention of Devi, the Chausat Yoginis, in the Durga Saptashati also. I used to recite Durga Saptashati daily when I was very young, and it actually mentioned. So there are 64 form of Shaktis or powers of Durga in 64 different forms. So it's a tantric temple that was built in 11th century, and it's a very, very unique piece of architecture that we must know about. That's why I've included it here. Yes, Jyoti, I will do that. I will surely do that because it's very, very interesting. So this temple is actually located in Morena, UP. It's almost 40 kilometers from Gwalior. So if anybody happens to be from Madhya Pradesh, please go and visit this temple. So despite being in an earthquake prone zone or zone 3 in Madhya Pradesh, it is actually located atop a hill. It has withstood a lot of earthquakes, and this temple, one of being that this is very, very ancient. This is somewhere in the 11th century. It's still very, very well preserved by the ASI. Okay. Yes, you do, Suman. So it's very, very powerful. Actually, Durga Saptashati is supposed to be extremely powerful. And sometimes you can actually feel it. All right, folks. Let's go on to the next question. Sure, Ganga. And your time starts in the next 5 seconds. This one is an important polity question. And your time starts now. Okay, where are my answers, folks? All right. So Ganga says it's actually C, 1 and 3. All right. All right, folks. C is not the correct answer, unfortunately. D is also not correct. And B is also not correct. Yes, it was a little tricky one because we usually don't hear about it. It's actually A. So in March 2020, our Lok Sabha speaker, she suspended, Meenakshi Lekhi, she suspended 6 members from the Congress. So that's when it actually came in news. So how do you actually determine the suspension of members from the House? It's actually based on the rules on how you run the House, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So they are separate for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So as per rule number 374 of the Lok Sabha, which is here. So whenever a minister tries to disrupt the proceedings, it was actually the budget session that was going on, and these 6 Congress MPs, they were creating a lot of ruckus in the assembly, so she suspended them, and it was a lot of news because budget is the time when the opposition will actually be questioning you a lot. So it's actually not a good idea to suspend their members, but she did suspend them. So in the Lok Sabha, if there are two provisions, one is rule number 374 and the another one is rule number 374A. So under rule number 374, the speaker can call out the name of the member for disrupting the proceedings, and when she calls out the name of the member, then the house actually takes a vote. The entire Lok Sabha house, they take a vote on that member and decide whether or not to suspend that person. If that member is suspended, then they decide the duration of suspensions. However, the member cannot be suspended for more than the duration of the present session. So as we all know, there are 3 sessions of the budget. The monsoon session is there, the winter session is there. So likewise, there are 3 sessions. So in that case, you cannot suspend the minister or the member for more than the remainder period of the session. Then he can come back in the next session. So this time they suspended 6 members. So that is one rule. How do you actually revoke the suspension? So she can suspend them, but to revoke the suspension, again, the House has to pass a motion. So there are, in the first rule, the House passes a motion on both suspending and revoking the suspension. However, a new rule, rule number 374A, was introduced to actually do away with the motion setting up in the House. The House to actually have an entire motion to actually suspend somebody. So more powers were given to the Speaker. So under rule 374A, if she calls out, if the speaker calls out any name, the member shall be suspended for 5 sittings or for the remainder of the session, whichever is less. And again, the revocation of the suspension, it remains the same. All right. So actually nobody as yet has answered it correctly. All have answered either B or C, be it Kumkum, be it Rosie, be it Abhi, Sanjeev, everybody. So the correct answer is A. All right. The second thing is, what happens in the Rajya Sabha? So that is why the first one is incorrect. She can suspend the members. The first one is correct, sorry. The second one is incorrect because she cannot revoke or he cannot revoke the suspension. In the case of Rajya Sabha, it is actually not the chairman who has the power to suspend a member. It is House. The Rajya Sabha together decides whether to suspend or to revoke the suspension of a member. So both the powers are in the hands of the Rajya Sabha. So here also you can differentiate between the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, or the difference in powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So there is one additional point. All right, folks, let's move on. Next question, very easy one. So 30 seconds to answer it. Oh, good to see you, Ridhima. You have come to this class for the first time, I guess. Otherwise, you're there in my Unacademy sessions. And Kumkum and Abhi and Sanjeev, how are you finding these sessions, folks? Okay, anybody with the correct answer as yet? Because this one is very, very easy. Nandu says D. Yes, Nandu, you are correct. So the answer is D. All three, as per the Citizenship Act, are the definition of illegal immigrant. If somebody comes to India without a passport, they are illegal immigrants. If they stay in the country after the expiry of their visa permit, they are legal immigrant, which is very, very intuitive. And obviously, if they use false documents for the immigration process, they are illegal immigrants. This entire issue of illegal immigrants was in news because of the Bangladeshi and the Rohingya immigrants. So this I have covered in detail in the Anglo-Bangladesh IR series, where I have taken up the Rohingya issues. All right. Okay. So everybody has got it correct. Very good, guys. Shweta, Shivranjani, Ganga Gopi, Jyoti, Rosie, Vivek, Supriya, Suman, all of you have got it correct. Very good. This was an easy question, so this shouldn't have been wrong. Next question, another 30 seconds to answer. 10 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. So if you don't know this one, it is okay. But question itself has the hint. So you can actually do it. And your time starts now. Actually, it's a very important initiative. So you should know about it. Though old, but very important. Okay, I have certain answers here. Naveen and Shweta and Nandu. I haven't got a correct answer here. As I told you, the answer is in the question. You see an E here? E. It's an initiative. So what else has E here? Prevent antibiotic resistance? No. Cyber security? No E. Skill development? No E. It should be energy efficiency, right? Because it has got to do something with E. Otherwise, no other name actually has E. So that can also be done. That's one of the tricks that you can follow if you have completely no idea what they are talking about. So SEED is actually a very old initiative between almost 18 governments, and India is a part of it. So why are we talking about the SEED initiative? So recently, okay, so nobody as yet has answered option number B, but it's actually related to energy efficiency. So in recently there was a BEE conference, or Bureau of Energy Efficiency conference. It's an international workshop in December 2019. So India was a part of it. There they were discussing efficient cooling systems, because see, as the global temperatures are rising, we will require more cooling systems. And we need to build more energy efficient systems so that we don't burn more fossil fuel, and we are actually able to control our ecological footprint. So that was the entire thing. Now that conference or that international workshop was actually being taken place under the super efficient equipment and appliance deployment initiative, this one. So it is actually a voluntary collaboration where they promote the manufacture, purchase and use of energy efficient appliances. I want you guys to actually go and research on what is the difference between 5-star, 4-star or 3-star appliances. The starring system or the energy efficient system is very, very common when you actually go out and buy ACs or air conditioners. So go and look for this. What is the meaning? What is the difference in the energy output? It is said that 5-star systems reduce your energy bill by up to 30%. So let's go and check that. All right. And the SEED is an initiative under the Clean Energy Ministerial, and it is a part of the International Partnership for Energy Efficiency Cooperation. So as I told you, 18 governments are there. In India, it is led by India's Bureau of Energy Efficiency. In fact, this initiative was first announced in December 2009 by US and Jairam Ramesh, who was our environment minister at that time. The first session of the UPA government with India between 2004 2009. Jairam Ramesh was a very, very famous environment minister, and he took a lot of wonderful initiatives, this being one of them. So they had launched it then in 2009, and they also launched the clean energy mechanism in July 2010. So this name you will keep hearing in the news whenever we talk about energy efficiency. Who others are the members? Australia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, the European Commission, Germany, India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Russia, South Africa, Sweden, and the United Arab Emirates, UK, and the USA. So all the big 18 nations plus the European Commission are members of it. So it's a very, very strong coalition and a very impactful. Yes, Jyoti, that's a tricky question. Okay. Any doubts so far, folks? Before we move on to the next question, any doubts? Anything that you want to ask? Or are we good to go? Should I move on to the next question? We good to go, guys? You can respond in the live chat. Okay. So I'm hearing nothing, so I'll proceed. All right. Chalo. Again, guys, 15 seconds to read it and 30 seconds to answer. Great. And then we'll come to the last segment after question number 15. Okay. Wonderful, everybody. And your time starts now. Great. Good to hear from everybody. Kumkum, you're enjoying the sessions? Great, Suman. I'm actually surprised that nobody has anything to ask. Do I explain that well? All right. All right, folks. Question number 12. Any answers so far? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Yes, guys. The correct answer is actually C. So Rosie, Sanjeev and Jyoti have given the correct answers. Naveen, what happened? And Vivek, why D? Why D? I mean, I don't understand. Great, Kumkum. So guys, the correct answer is actually C. So Priya, you also answered it correctly. Shweta, you answered it correctly. Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, guys, both these are correct. So we are planning to install 3.5 crore energy efficient LED lights in the country. And Energy Efficiency Services Limited is actually a public authority under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and it is implementing the Streetlight National Program. Now, this program was actually launched in 2015 when this government, the present government, first came in power. So let's look at it. Why was it in news? So by March 2020, so actually their target by March 2019 was to actually replace 1.34 crore street lights. However, they could only achieve a target of 1 crore. So this entire program, which was launched in 2015, was an initiative to promote energy efficiency and to reduce the carbon footprint of our country. And this program, actually, you'll be very surprised, it's completely voluntary in nature. The central government is not paying the state governments. The state governments or the municipal bodies are doing it on their own. And despite the fact that it is voluntary, we have really been very close to achieving our targets. So that's why this thing is very, very, what do you say, is a very, very distinguished achievement and is a very, very distinguished scheme also. So with that, why are, even when the scheme is voluntary, why have we achieved such great targets? So as you can see, we were supposed to achieve the target of 1 crore 0.34 lakh street lights by March 19. We actually achieved a target of 1 crore, which is very good for any government scheme which is voluntary, because municipalities can then be paid by the savings in the energy expenditure that they will incur if they replace these normal street lights by the LED lights. So they have something to pay for it on its own. So that's why it's completely voluntary in nature. And this target, which has been achieved of 1 crore, is almost double. So in entire 1 year, we actually had 50 lakh more street lights than we had in 2018. So in 2018, we had 49 lakh street lights, and now we have 50 lakh more. So 1 crore street lights by March 2019. Now the deadline has been shifted to March 2020 to actually achieve this, but this obviously everything has been taken down by the coronavirus. But however, with the installation of these kind of LED lights, we have actually had a huge saving of approximately 7 billion kilowatt hours, right? So that's huge, and we saved almost 5 million ton of CO2. We'll be saving that every year. And in fact, another amazing thing about this program is, okay. Sorry guys. Sorry. But I think it's correct actually. Oh, okay. I think I didn't see that. Extremely sorry, folks. You make it correct. I think I might have written it here. Talk about the correct one. So it's actually both. C is correct. My mistake. My bad. Yeah, actually both are correct. Both are not incorrect. So both are correct. My bad. Okay. All right. So here, it's actually the largest program in the world, and the second largest program in the world only has 35 lakh streetlights as its target. So that's another feather to the cap of the Streetlight National Program Initiative. All right, folks. Am I sorted? I'm so sorry. Naveen, there's no one single source that I follow. Extremely sorry, folks. It's very embarrassing. I should have read that correctly. I'm extremely sorry. I think when I was typing the entire thing, I might have written it that way, and I had something else in mind. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm extremely sorry. I can't apologize enough for it. So, extremely sorry for the faux pas. It shouldn't have happened, and it will never happen again. Never happen. Trust me on that. I think it was just a typo from my side, which actually costed you an entire question. So, extremely sorry. Extremely sorry. Okay, should we move on to the next question, folks? All right, sure. This one is easy and difficult both. So, if you know it, you will be able to do it simply by elimination. So, 20 seconds to read this and 30 seconds to answer it. Yeah, Naveen, but I should have been more careful, so I'll take that. It's my responsibility as a teacher to be more careful of what I write on the screen. I can't let my uh, students go and do something wrong in the exam. All right? You are supposed to make mistakes here, not me. All right. Okay, Shweta says it's B. That is 1 and 3. Okay. Everybody says it's B. Naveen says otherwise. Yes, it's actually C, folks. B is actually wrong. It's not a World Bank program. That's why I said you can do it by elimination only. I have taught this under the government initiative session in my science and technology class. Actually, it's a very wonderful initiative. So the correct answer is C. It's not by World Bank program. It's our own India's initiative. It's not an initiative by the World Bank program. What we are trying to do here is we are under this echo network. We are trying to listen to nature to help us better understand it and to formulate our policies around that. So it's one of its kind program where we are trying to build in climate awareness. So we are trying to have more research scholars in the field of environment and ecology who can find out problems to the current climate conundrums that we are facing as a country. All right. So that is why option number 2 is correct. It will catalyze a new generation of Indians that can tackle real world problems in medicine, agriculture, ecology, and technology by understanding nature more. And obviously, it includes everybody: citizens, industry, academy, and government. So these are the four pillars of this program. The citizens will be they will be talked to, they will be interviewed. The industry will be participating in a big manner, the academia will be participating, and the government will be facilitating the interaction between the citizens, industry, and the academia. So government here is in a facilitator role more than in a pioneering role that they are doing something about it. No, we are leading it to the people to actually tackle the climate changes in a better manner. All right. Okay. So who else has answered it correctly? It is Naveen has answered it correctly. Supriya has answered it correctly. Suman has answered it correctly. Ganga has answered it correctly. Kumkum has answered it correctly. For Nandu, I have put a special option here, E. He has skipped it. Great. Okay. So it's here. You can further go. I've explained the entire initiative in detail under the Science and Technology course. However, I will cover a key features here, a couple of key features here. So the primary aim of this is to actually have more PhD or more research scholars who are acquainted with the topic of environment and ecology, which is still a very nascent field in India. We don't do much work here. And we are trying to have it as interdisciplinary as we can, and as a combination of the four pillars that I've already talked about. A lot of interaction between citizens, industry, academia, and the government going on to identify the gaps in our understanding of climate and ecology. So, and it will have a cross-disciplinary leadership. That means we'll have both ecology, environment, biology, chemistry, everything coming together, all the sciences coming together to have a better understanding of the environment and ecology issues. Is that clear? Everybody? Abhi also answered it correctly. Okay. Now, folks, next question on your screens. This is a rather old one, but it's a very easy one. It can be directly done by the elimination trick. So your time starts in another 5 seconds. There you go. Okay, so who's answering me this one? Nandu has decided to skip it. Sivranjani, what is the F option? I don't understand. Okay, so 14th one. Okay, there we go. B, no. Okay, yes, the correct answer is B, 2 only. So who has answered it correctly? Let me see. Nandu has answered it correctly. Ganga has answered it correctly. Naveen, why did you make a mistake here? NCDs, non-communicable diseases, can never be short duration. They are chronic diseases. Diabetes is not a short duration disease. Stroke is not a short duration disease. Yes? They're all long duration diseases, or cancer. So NCDs are long duration and are a combination of genetic, physiological, environmental, and behavioral factors. That's why they are called non-communicable. So if you actually read this word correctly, you will directly eliminate it. All right. And the second one, yes, it is correct. So this program, National Program for Prevention Control of Cancer, Diabetes, Cardiovascular Diseases, and Stroke, it was launched in 2010, specially seeing the burden of non-communicable diseases in India. India is a hotbed of diabetes. We are the diabetes capital of the world. And in fact, in the latest nutrition survey that was released, it was also said that we are having a twin burden. People who are undernutrition and people who are obese because they are not getting proper nutrition. So obesity can also be because you're not eating the right food, you're eating all the wrong food. So they are not getting proper nutrition, yet they're obese, and there are undernutrition people, and we are facing that kind of twin burden problem, which I've already taken in my previous sessions. Yes? So who else has answered it correctly? I think most of you have answered it correctly. Rosie, Shweta, Jyoti. Sanjeev, why did you mark option 1? Did you not read short there? Sabia has answered it correctly. Vivek has answered it correctly. Supriya, you've answered it correctly. Abhi, why C and why not B? Yes? Okay. Yes, Jyoti used elimination. Okay. So, folks, coming back here, in fact, by the research, the recent research of ICMR, in fact, this report was recently released. So, in July 2019, they said that India, the report, India Health of Nation States, the contribution of the NCDs to the total death in the country was a staggering 62% as of 2016 compared to 38% in 1990s. So that means, what does that mean? That our lifestyle is changing so fast that actually non-communicable diseases are becoming a major cause of death. So that actually shouldn't happen. In fact, with the prevalence of cancer that high, I want you guys to actually check out the Cancer Preparedness Index. There is this index, and India actually has the 5th rank in that. We are very well prepared to actually handle the burden of cancer. So I want you to go and look at that index and various other health indices which talk about non-communicable diseases. We might not have a question, but it is very good fodder to write in your examinations. All right. Okay. Let's come to question number 15. It's a difficult one, but it was in news for a long time. So, and it's from polity, so people should get it correct. 20 seconds to answer it, 20 seconds to read, and 30 seconds to answer it. And this is the last question of the quick 10, and then we'll move on to our rapid fire session, which is very, very enjoyable for me. And your time starts now. Okay, yes, 15th, the correct answer is D, actually. Only this part is correct. Parliament, guys, can you just give me 1 second? I will switch on the power socket here. I think I forgot to switch it on in the morning. So just give me 1 second. Okay. Yes, folks, the correct answer is D. This one and this one both are wrong, and we'll see how. So let's go here. So recently, the amendment was passed by the parliament that they will extend the reservation of SC/STs in the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies, but they won't do so for Anglo-Indians. So the term Anglo-Indian actually first appeared in the Government of India Act. And in the present context in the constitution, they are mentioned under Article 366(2). So state-wise enumeration. So Kerala has the highest number of Anglo-Indians, 124, and it is not West Bengal. All right. So that's why option number 1 is incorrect, and option number 2 is also incorrect, though it looks like they might be correct. Yes. So Nandu, Naveen, Vivek, Shivranjani, Kumkum, all your guesses are correct. Jyoti, you're correct. Suman, you're correct. Ganga Gopi, you're correct. Sanjeev, Sabia, and Kumkum, this is incorrect. So let's see. What are the, actually Anglo-Indians are both religious, social and linguistic minorities. They are all the 3 types of minorities. Yes, they might be mostly Christians, social minority of course, and linguistic minority of course. So as of now, in 2009, there was the 95th amendment was passed to actually extend the reservation for them in the Lok Sabha and the other state assemblies till 2020, and now that extension has been given away with. So 366 article, it defines who are Anglo-Indians. So Anglo-Indians are people whose father or any of whose male progenitors in the ancestry were actually of European descent, but who decide to stay in India. Article 331 is that President can nominate two Anglo-Indian community people to the Lok Sabha if he feels that they are not adequately represented. Article 333 is similarly for the state assemblies. The government can actually also nominate people, one from that community, to the assembly. So in the center or the Lok Sabha, you can nominate two people. In the state, you could have nominated one person. And under the Article 338, which also talks about the National Commission for SCs, the Anglo-Indians have been mentioned that President can also ask for a report on the Anglo-Indian community, just like the National Commission for SCs or Scheduled Caste has to be submitted to the President regarding investigations on how this community is faring. Yes? Clear? Everybody? Yes, Rosie. Two Anglo-Indians are nominated by the President in the Lok Sabha, and the governor can nominate one Anglo-Indian in the State Assembly. Clear? Everybody? And they are respectively under Articles 331 and 333. आगे चले? Okay. Guys, this is the last and the final round for today. So the rapid fire five questions, only 30 seconds to read and answer both. And the person who tops or whose name appears maximum times. So it will be first three, fastest three. So the top three I will account for, and those top three. So the person who appears in the top three the maximum number of times wins the rapid fire round. Alright, so there will be 5 questions back to back. Okay. First question, and your time starts now. Great, Nandu, if it is clear. So who's answering this in the top 3? Nandu has answered. Okay. Who else? Nandu, Arushi, and Jyoti. I got on my top 3. Yes. For the others, yes, the correct answer is good governance. All the 3 resolutions are related to good governance. So guys, can anybody tell me when do we observe the Good Governance Day? When do we observe the Good Governance Day? Anybody? I will wait for your answers in the live chat. So before that, so this meeting was recently happened. It happened in December 2019 in Nagpur, where the theme of the conference was improving public service delivery role of governments. Guys, these meetings are very, very important. So whatever resolutions are passed in there, you can directly take the pointers and attach them in your file, because good governance is a part of GS2. Also, you can utilize these pointers when we write about citizen charters and delivery of governments and what can be done to improve the schemes, etc, etc, etc. All are a part of good governance. Especially, it is very important for the students of public administration. So going further, this was the Nagpur resolution. Some of the pointers were, we have to give better service delivery to our customers, so citizens are treated as customers. There will be bottom-up approach to bring massive improvements in the quality of grievance readdressal. Alright, how will you also do public grievance readdressal reforms? By mapping people, by monitoring how these things are done. In fact, relating to that, there is the Santusht portal recently, which was launched by the Labour Ministry. Yes, and there is CPG RMS, which is run by the Ministry of Personnel and Grievances. Yes, which is actually the HR for civil servants. Now, what are the other pointers? That both states and ministry and departments and the government of India, they will create an enabling environment for service delivery and grievance redressal through digital platforms, and Santusht portal by the Labour Ministry is one such initiative for monitoring how the labour initiatives are actually going on under the program. Also, improved service delivery under the Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat program. I want you to go and read more about it. And finally, yes, Sameer, you're right. Jyoti, you're right. It's 25th December. Guys, do we also know that there is a good governance index? So the government or these people under this resolution, the state governments and the central government will try to identify the quality of governance in 10 sectors, all right, especially pertaining to welfare and infrastructure at the union, state and district levels, and come out with a good governance index. So can anybody tell me when was this index launched? So this index was actually launched in this meeting only in 2019, December 2019 only, when the good governance day is actually observed. So we are yet to come up with the numeric figures or the rankings at the good governance index. So let's wait for that. That's an important part of data. So you can utilize it in your mains examination. It's important. So please keep an eye on this. Good governance is a very, very big part or very, very big focus area of the central government and the polity going forward. So it's a very, very important area. Yes, Sameer, you're right. It's Vajpayeeji's birthday. That's why it was named as the Good Governance Day. Next question on your screens. So, okay. 30 seconds starts now. It's a static question and it's very, very easy. Very easy. Very commonsensical. So a lot of people should get it correct. Okay. Any answers? Okay. Arushi is the first one to answer it. Who else? Arushi, Sivaranjani and Sanjeev. I got my top 3. Rosie, Naveen, Jyoti, Nandu, Vivek, Supriya, Kumkum, Shweta, Suman all have answered it correctly. It was completely commonsensical. We all know about income tax, levied and collected by the central government and distributed by the Finance Commission, because once it is collected, obviously the entire money goes to the Finance Commission and they decide what levy or what money has to go to which part of the government. What money goes to the central, what money goes to the state, or what money goes to the local bodies. So that's why this income tax is levied and collected by the central government, and that's why the income tax services or the Indian Revenue Indian Revenue Services, under which the income tax services come, they are a part of the UPSC 24 services. Yes, so this was an easy one. Okay, the next one is question number 18, and your time starts now. Rosie, you are not third because Arushi, Sivranjani and Sanjeev already did it correctly. Alright. Again, this is an easy one. So, it's your time to pull up. 3 more questions to go. Okay. Okay, I haven't got a correct answer yet. Yes, I have. Amit has finally joined. Good to see you, Amit. Yes, it's C. Both these statements are correct. Alright. External aids or external financing actually helps you to bridge the balance of payments. Apart from that, you are also getting foreign currency. We especially need it because our currency is not a reserve currency around the world. Second thing, it does not cause crowding out, because see, if the government goes around borrowing domestically, then the private investment cannot get enough money, and that's the problem with government raising the domestic loans. So that's why if you borrow from outside, both these things are a beneficial factor to the domestic economy, and hence the correct answer is C. So I will announce the top 3 here. Amit is there, who answered it correctly for the first time. Sivranjani and Sanjeev. So Amit, Sivranjani and Sanjeev. Okay. Good morning, Sanjeev. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Question number 19 and your time starts now. It's a very easy one. Very easy. Okay. Folks, actually the correct answer is B. So Amit is the first one to answer it correctly. Nandu is the second one. And I haven't found a third one as yet. So fourth, Amit, Nandu, and Shweta. Okay. So perpetual bonds actually, folks, it's been in news for a while. Do you guys know about the Yes Bank crisis? The one in which Rana Kapoor had committed a fraud. Now they can't actually pay back their debts. So they had given perpetual AT bonds or additional tier 1 capital. Perpetual bonds are, as the name suggests, these are the bonds which you give out to people. Yes. And on that, you will never have to pay the principal amount back. So in bonds, you have a principal amount and you have an interest. So till the time the bond does not mature, the person who has issued you the bond, they keep paying you interest for the time of the maturity of the bond. And once the bond matures, you will also get your principal amount along with the interest. However, in perpetual bonds, they will never pay you the principal, but they will keep paying you the interest for the lifetime. And that's why the interest rates are low, but it is a very easy way to raise money. So, and it is actually counted as a very, very liquid asset. And that's why it is considered to be tier 1 capital, and it is considered to be an equity instrument, or it is considered to be like a share rather than a bond instrument. All right. It's not a debt instrument. So there are two instruments, debt and equity. So debt is when it's kind of not considered to be a very liquid financial thing, but equity is considered to be very liquid, because you can just go directly and sell your shares and get the money out of it. Debt, it is a little bit difficult to get. That's why debt comes in tier 2 capital in the banks, and equity comes under tier 1 capital. So this perpetual bonds, they come under tier 1. They were actually made famous by the United Kingdom way back in the 1880s or early 19th century. Why? Because these perpetual bonds were used to finance the Napoleonic Wars, or the slavery, abolition of slavery, or the wars in the Irish region. All right. So at that point of time, they were called consoles, and they were finally approved by America also. And recently, Spain has been trying to introduce perpetual bonds because they're very easy to raise the money from the government, from the people, and the money can be financed over a long period of time. So the repayment time is long and is not as high as when you issue normal bonds, because then you have to pay interest also. So the European government or the European Commission is seriously considering this actually. And the second thing why it was in news is because of the Yes Bank, because they had issued perpetual bonds to the retail investors, and now since the bank has gone down, they will not be able to pay back those bond money, and people have actually lost their money. They will have to write off that. So a lot of people have lost their money. And the third reason why it was in news is HDFC, one of the largest lenders in the private sector. They have also decided to raise capital using perpetual bonds, capital of around 50,000 crores. So that's a huge, huge money, and they're still awaiting confirmation from the bank board whether they can do it, go ahead or not, because it actually is a huge responsibility. Though it's an easier measure to collect money from the market, but it's very risky for the investors. So the government has to, so the RBI has to give a way ahead to it. Yes. All right. Everybody understood? Is there anything that needs to be understood here? Anything that you want to understand? Any queries, folks? Because I spoke it very, very quickly. So anything that you want to understand? I'll wait. Or is it understood? Perpetual means the bond will never mature. They will just keep paying you the interest. So the interest that the European government is actually vouching to pay is approximately 0.5% for the entire life of the bond. Yes, Gopi, tell me. No queries? Everybody sorted? Understood? Should we proceed? Last question of the day? Okay. Chal. Great. And so, guys, am I that easily understandable? Because I think I spoke very fast. So, are you sure? Nobody needs an explanation? Everybody understood? Okay. Chal. Last question, and your time starts now. This is a very easy one. Very easy one. If you know it. Great. What about others? I haven't gotten no doubt from others. If you have anything, if you have any doubts, ask it now. See, I'm here. I'm here to answer. You wouldn't find that opportunity most of the times. When I was preparing, I didn't have a lot of people to answer my queries. Okay. So, Nandu is the first one to answer it. Okay. Amit, why did you get it incorrect? I don't understand it. How can you get it incorrect? You're a brilliant student. So my top three are Nandu, Naveen, and Jyoti. All right. Yes, the correct answer is International Monetary Fund. So I will just explain it to you. I'll just first right now collect the names of these people. So Nandu is first, Naveen is second, and Jyoti is third. Okay, folks. So let's talk about reverse reserve tranche, what it is. So it's basically a portion of the required quota of currency each member is supposed to maintain. So if you are a part of IMF, you're supposed to deposit a certain sum with the IMF. So and that sum that you deposit with the IMF, you can use it for your own purposes. So that, see, whenever you borrow from IMF, you have to pay an interest or you have to do some reforms like what we did in 1991 when we went ahead with taking a loan from the IMF to meet our balance of payments crisis. That time the IMF asked us to open up our economy, and that's when we actually got in the LPG reforms or the liberalization, privatization and globalization reforms. But if you have a reserve tranche with the IMF and if you require loans, then you can use that reserve tranche and you can take money from it. So there will be no service fee on it and there will be no economic reform conditions. However, if the demand of money that you want is more than the reserve tranche you have with IMF, then you will have to take the credit from IMF and that becomes a credit tranche, and then you will have to undergo certain economic reform conditions or there will be a certain service fee that IMF will charge you. Now, so is it understandable? Is it okay? Should I announce the winners now? What happened, Amit? What gets restored for Nandu? So, Nandu, actually there is whenever a bank fails, the last people to be paid will be the shareholders of the bank. The debtors will be paid first. Sorry, the creditors will be paid first. That's how it goes. And whatever then remains is liquefied and is paid to the shareholders. So that's how it happens. Jyoti, Sivranjini, I think Jyoti answered before you and Naveen answered before you and Nandu answered before you. So Nandu, Naveen and Jyoti were before you, Sivranjini. That's why they are in the top three. Okay, so let me announce the results for today. All right. So what are the results for today? So let's see. Question number 16, Nandu, Arushi, Jyoti. Question number 17, Arushi, Shivranjani and Sanjeev. Question number 18. It's okay, Amit. Question number 18, Amit, Shivranjani and Sanjeev. Sanjeev, you performed really well today. And Naveen, I'm not happy with your performance today. You usually get a lot of questions correct. And Nandu, same for you. I'm not happy with your performance today. Question number 19, again, Amit, Nandu and Shweta. And question number 20, Nandu, Naveen and Jyoti. Sujoti, you have appeared 2 times. Sanjeev, you have appeared 2 times in the top 3. Amit, you have appeared 2 times. Arushi, you have appeared 2 times. Sivranjani, you appeared 2 times. So if you would have appeared this time, then there would have been a tie. Naveen and Shweta 1 times in the top 3. And Nandu has appeared 3 times in the top 3 out of the 5 questions. So again, Nandu, you get it. I think he is only interested in the top 5. He doesn't really pay much attention in the earlier questions. So yes, today's winner of the rapid fire round is Nandu Vijay. So congratulations to you and hope you keep doing or keep getting the same tremendous performance that you've shown here. Yes? Sorry, WTO का क्या नहीं हो सकता Amit? I don't understand. Can you please can you rephrase Amit? I don't understand the query. Yes, congratulations. I'm waiting for you, Amit, if you're still here. In the meanwhile, I'll share my Telegram group link and channel link. So folks, this is my Telegram group link and this is my Telegram channel link. All those who are new to this class, you can join this so that you have idea about all my upcoming sessions, whether in IR or on Unacademy or regarding this prelims test series. All right. I will try once to have the poll here, though I find it very cumbersome to use because we will keep toggling between screens, but I think that will make the quiz more entertaining. No, Amit, there is no concept of a reserve tranche in the WTO. There is no concept of a reserve tranche. See, IMF is actually it's a bank to the banks around the world. It actually takes in care of your monetary policies and how are you faring in the trade criterion. How is the money situation in your country? And WTO is more related to trade. IMF is more related to whether you have money in your hands or not. So that is how. And WTO is more about trade facilitation, that there should be fair trade around the countries and it should increase. International Monetary Fund is because you can't let the countries to fail economically, and that's why the International Monetary Fund is there. If they fail economically, then that's a problem because it's a cascading effect. For example, if there's a recession in Latin America or say if there is a recession in Asia, the entire world suffers. So that's what the monetary fund is actually supposed to do. That's why. Have I answered your question, Amit? Thank you, folks. So those of you who want to live, yeah, that's why I said WTO is impossible and the correct answer is this IMF. So is it sorted, Amit? It is okay, happens. That's why I told you, make mistakes, but your teacher will not make mistakes from now on. That was a blunder that I committed today, so apologies for that. Hope all of you have an amazing day ahead, and I hope you had a brilliant morning. I'll possibly also try to include more questions. I'll try to do more questions. I don't want to engage you for more than an hour or something because then it starts getting boring. Otherwise, I would love to do, say, around 30 to 40 questions in a day. All right? You're welcome, Sabia. You're welcome, Amit. All right, folks. There we end. Thank you and have a good day.